back to the Overplayed podcast, the home of sports and sports gaming in your ear every single Thursday, might add, roughly around like 3 p.m. Eastern on your favorite app, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple Podcasts, or any of the other ones that I've definitely forgot about right now. If you have not given us a 5-star rating, first of all, you're below 5 feet tall. I can just tell from your ability to not hit the 5-star rating button. So do that, and maybe tomorrow morning when you wake up, you might be a little bit taller and be able to reach the cereal on the top shelf if you have it there. Don't get Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Might be shrimp in there. My name, though, is GoodGameBro, and the gentleman you just heard, who has the second best beard on this podcast now, is my incredible co-host Mills. Mills, how you been?
I mean, the second best beard for another month and a half, maybe.
June 11th. June 11th.
Don't start. Listen. All right. So before we intro our guest, and he's allowed to jump in anytime he wants. I'm sure he will. I want to say that I'm glad that GGB raised over $16,000 for St. Jude this past Saturday.
Wow.
I still feel completely hustled by the fact that I put my beard up for 10,000 and we knew that you were going to get that. Rob Moore, I'm going to find you.
You put it up. You put it up.
I put it. Yeah. Didn't. So I didn't realize that he had done it before and that he had hit 10,000 with ease before. So let me tell you how this worked. By the way, the other beautiful voice you're hearing is Mr. Daddy Dimmu from Twitch.tv.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing, sir? We'll get to you in a second because I've got problems. I've got problems with people. So I put a bet up that said, hey, if you can raise 10,000, I'll shave the beard. Like down to the skin. And because people knew I was going to try to loophole this, so everyone was like, what does shave mean? I said, razor, skin, it's all gone. And then they try to get me to shave my head, which is not going to happen. So,
good Lord. So
this happened. And then he told me that the previous year he hit 10,000 on the first step. So, and then I'm watching this, I'm streaming at the same time because it's MLB The Show opening weekend. And I'm watching, and Rob Moore throws $5,000 a half hour in. I'm like, who is Rob Moore and where can I stop his bank account? It's like,
he's a legend.
And then I see my mods throwing money and I'm like, what's going on? My mods who are literally modding my Twitch channel while I'm live throwing money. And I'm like, and so long story short, congratulations, GGB, for raising the money you did for St. Jude. It's an amazing cause that many creators go to throughout the year for the kids, obviously. But as of June 11th, which is conveniently GGB's birthday, and a Friday night, I will be shaving my beard live on stream, and then hiding my face for 2 months. So I don't know how we're going to do that, but yeah.
This is the best con I've ever got on you. Not only did I outsmart you, which I do every episode here.
Completely hustled.
But I just hustled you beyond belief. You felt so confident. And I took that security from you. Now you're going to be a little bald baby on Twitch. And I cannot wait every single stream to clip it and troll you and just post it on Twitter. This is the best day of my life.
I've never thought in my life that I liked being called Twitch Jesus. Because every once in a while, a TikTok video or I'll get a comment like, "Hey man, is this MLB Jesus?" And I'm like, "All right, listen guys, let's calm down here. Let's calm down here. I don't look that much like it." The Mick Foley thing. I'm even gonna be happy. I'd be happy to be called Mick Foley at this point. But now, you don't understand, Dimmu. Listen to me. As a man with a great, flowing, luscious beard.
Thank you.
You understand that we hide things.
I was going to say, you're brave because I've been growing mine for this is going to be 6 years this year. Mm-hmm. I have, when I started growing this, I had one chin. I have no idea how many more I have under there now. That would be, I haven't seen this for years.
So I know I may have a second chin under there, but I know what the first chin looks like is the problem.
I've known you for 3 years. I've never seen you without a beard.
GGB has.
I have. I can't wait.
GGB knows that I have. He knows exactly what's coming. That's why he's laughing. I have an extremely, I hate to say it, I have an extremely weak chin. It is a
the opposite of Tom Brady. The opposite of Tom Brady.
Yes, everything that Vince McMahon has, I have the opposite. If his is an Audi, I have an innie, and it's not going to be good. It's going to be one of those things that people meme for a very long time, and I'm going to grow it back as fast as I possibly can. But I'm just telling you, it looks like my cheekbones just go straight to my neck. It's not going to be good, man. And if there is a second chin, it's going to
me.
I'm 100% going Jabba the Hutt if there's a second chin on here, because we got real beef problems. And I've been for like the last week, I've been like feeling it like underneath, like trying to figure out what's going to look like. I put my beard back and like, I'm scared. I'm real scared. Not going to lie.
Yeah, dude, I'm not going to. I've had people like offer to like, hey man, I'll give you this if you shave your beard. And like, it's gotten to the point where some of those offers are like, oh my goodness. But like, I'd rather be broke and know what this looks like. Because like, I feel like if I shaved my beard, like before even just the self-sadness could hit me, like my girl would hit me. She'd just come in there and be like, what the heck is this? And punch me square in the jaw. Can't do it.
No, this is getting worse. Can we move on from this, please? By the way, the voice you're hearing is Daddy Dimmu, Twitch.tv, one of the top MLB Show creators, if not, you know what, let's screw it, the top MLB Show creators when it comes to like entertaining. Like literally, I put him on the background, and I sit there and I'll be doing stuff like on my computer, work and stuff. It's impossible not to laugh in your stream. You're so engaging. You bring so much out of so many people in terms of just comedic value, but then also you have that connection with your chat. What started like just Twitch with you? Real quick, let's go over your history. Where did you start streaming? What did you start streaming, and how are you where you are now?
I didn't even know anything about Twitch. I just knew I wanted to like make content and maybe make somebody laugh. Cause like I'd be playing games with some homies, and they'd be like, oh, man, this is funny. I'd be like, what if you could make more people laugh? That'd be kind of cool. And I had a friend who was like, man, you should check out this Twitch thing. He got me kind of into starting it. And I started streaming Far Cry 4. Man, and I was doing it once a week, and I was doing the co-op stuff, and me and my buddy, we were playing, and it was a good time. And now the channel is 5 years old, and here we are. And now I have a home in MLB. I like it a lot. I like baseball. I'm a disgusting baseball fan. And so now that there's more disgusting baseball fans to be able to talk to, like I've found my home.
Well, and I know you're talking about finding your home, but you're going to be humble about it because that's the dude you are. Like, I'm not going to be humble about it. Like, you didn't find your home. You helped build the home. Like, the directory is where it is right now, a lot of times because of you. Like, they're the OGs, and you were like that second level. But dude, if we built the walls, dude, you built like the rest of the mansion out with what you've done. And seriously, there are people that have taken a lot of I've seen streamers come up and say, hey, look, I started streaming because I saw Dimmu do it, and like I thought it was really fun. Like,
that's always cool.
There are people that was it right? Isn't it though?
Like, I guess sometimes I'll see like those tweets. I'll be like, bro, I wanted to stream because of you, and I'm like, oh shucks. That's pretty cool. Crying. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So I mean, just saying that, like if you're talking about you found a home in the MLB community, I mean, like I said, you built half of the MLB community, if not more, and inspire more and more creators every day. Like I said, believe me, I sit in your channel. I'm a fan. Like I see the people in your channel that like and it's not worship, man. That's the thing for me. When I see somebody worship somebody, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not like, I take that and I'm like, okay, someone's a big fan, but like you have that connection. It feels like, and I always talk about this with GGB on the stream, like about streaming, like when you can feel like a family in your community, I take that above the hero worship, like the creator worship. And you have that, like you have, because of your chat engagement, because of, your ability to connect, your ability to, it's almost that vulnerability you have where you just open up to everybody. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think your level of humor.
I just like having incredible. Fun on there and being an idiot. So I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think your humor is top notch. Like I even remember it was probably a couple weeks back at this point, but it was when RBI Baseball it was launching, and I was like, I want to see what it's doing. You dropped a video for it, and so I tune in, and it's probably the first however long. I'm like, I'm literally crying laughing because you couldn't turn off. I think it was like the announcer or whatever, and he was just like the worst announcing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Loud.
And you're just like, why are you loud? Why are you yelling?
So
and like,
loud.
the fact that you were able to take a game like RBI baseball, which objectively, not on par with a lot of sports titles that we play, and still make that hilarious and a good time. Like, I think it speaks volumes to your content creation. Like, if someone's in your stream, if someone's watching your YouTube, if someone's watching a piece of content you're putting out, like, they're genuinely going to get a belly laugh out of it, which I think, again, shows why you're doing as well as you are, because you can do that every single time, which is a rare trait.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. So now that we've spoken you up, let's Terry. No, I'm just kidding. So we normally start this off, by the way, if you're listening now, this is going to be a completely MLB The Show centric episode. We normally do This Week in Sports and then some sports gaming. Obviously, with MLB The Show 21 dropping this past weekend, well, technically Tuesday for everybody, but early access this past weekend, and having Dimmu on, this is going to be completely MLB The Show 21. So with that, I ask you guys, hey guys, what have you been playing the last week?
MLB.
Dimmu, yeah, Dimmu, let's start with Dimmu. Yeah, sorry, I say that, and then both guys are like, "Wait a second, me or him?" Dimmu, what have you been playing last week, Dimmu?
MLB The Show 21. I'm super addicted. Super addicted.
Yeah,
I'm having a blast.
I agree. And GGB, I'm gonna guess same answer.
Dude, I'm staying up way too late. I stayed until 4 a.m. last night, and I had to wake up early because our babysitter wasn't able to come. So I'm dying right now, but yeah, I'm spending way too much time playing it.
You didn't miss dinner though, apparently.
I mean, you mad that I'm eating these wonderful pretzels right now?
I'm a little jealous, actually. I don't have anything on my table, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. So, all right, let's get into this. Just general thoughts first of all. GGB, you said you've been playing a lot. Obviously, we all been playing a lot. That's one of our main games for all of us. What are your thoughts, just out of the box, like? First thing you played out, like what are your general thoughts on what's going on with the 21 this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably more casual than I'd say maybe both of you guys are. Like, I play, primarily offline. I do dabble online until I find a little Timmy that destroys me, and then I'm like, well, I'm out of here. You would never beat me to anything, here in 2021. For me though, Road to the Show has been, an interesting experience. There are parts of Road to the Show that I love. There are parts of it where the progression is really weird. The server disconnects right now. Obviously, there's an insane amount of people trying to play the game from obviously PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and with Game Pass, that just shoots it up through the roof. Online has been fun. The showdowns have been really cool. In Diamond Dynasty, I like the speed of those. They're stupid difficult, I think, to sometimes. Like the fielding, I'm like, you are an insane Terminator 2 robot catching that ball, but for the most part, showdowns have been fun. The amount of content that you have in there to collect cards, to go through programs, feels overwhelming almost at some point. So I really like the overall state of the game. Yes, I have some grievances here and there, but from where we've seen the game at launch, I'm perfectly fine with where we are right now.
And Dimmu, same kind of idea. Like general thoughts. By the way, Dimmu and I may have some tips for you for Showdown for later that that I found out from him, and then kind of went on my own little rants for. So, but Dimmu, same idea. You've been playing 21 now for, I'm going to guess, just about a week, right, or just under a week.
Yeah. General
thoughts on the game, where it is right now, like place of the game, like would you make any changes? What's going on in Dimmu's brain about 21?
I'm having fun with it. So obviously, like for like my content, I do like a lot of DD stuff and online. But I mean, I've had an MLB The Show game since 2006. That was my first MLB The Show. I was big into franchise, loved it. And I was new into DD. 2018 was my first year, right? And so obviously, like I'm having a lot of fun with DD. Like Showdown, you're absolutely right, man. It's nice and fast paced. The rewards there. You like it. You grind for team affinities, and it's super cool how like. You can do that offline, get those sweet, awesome Series 42 cards, which look incredible. Oh, by the way, I don't think there's ever been bad card art in MLB The Show. I think every time I'm like, dang, they did it again. But like, there's so much you can do. My own, I don't want to comment on gameplay and stuff too yet, because I feel like we do that too soon. You know what I mean? Like where everybody's too excited that the game's out. You know what I mean? The honeymoon phase, if you will. That like everybody's like, oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. You know what I mean? And we haven't really even had enough sample sizes. But like right now, I'm having a blast playing it. There's so much to do, so much content to grind, and then like I do no money spent, so I'm over here trying to figure out ways to help other people that don't want to spend money on the game either. For grinding their stuff. It's been so much fun. There's so much to do, and I don't want to I don't want to say it's the greatest game ever, obviously, because I'm walled in with that. I'm so glad I have things to do right now. You know what I mean? Because like the end of 20 was rough. Yo,
the end of 20, the beginning of 20, like some of the middle of 20, there were issues throughout 20. And that's why I trying to look past exactly what you said, the honeymoon phase. For me, out of the box, trying to not look at Diamond Dynasty, trying not to look at the modes themselves, just straight gameplay. I think this may be the best gameplay we've had out of the box in a while. And I'm with you. I think we're too fast as sports gamers, and just gamers in general these days, to jump on like, hey, man, first week, we should just fix this and it'll be a perfect game. And then they fix that. And I think I've seen you talk about it on Twitter. I mean, GGB and I've talked about it. That first patch is always the scariest thing, isn't it? Like
scariest moment.
You're waiting for everything to break. You're like, oh, please, God, don't make it. Don't make foul ball perfects or don't make.
Well, we had that last year, like when the game launched, I think everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is like so much fun and stuff. And then we had the hitting patch, and then we were like, oh, okay. So what's happening? and we never went back. So I'm begging and pleading people not to like give too harsh of feedback to the point that they got a patch right out of the gate. There's definitely weird stuff that you see from time to time, but like I feel like we just got to play the game for a month, then we can talk patches. You know what I mean? Don't kill what you got. Let's see what we got. Get the data, all that good stuff. Please don't kill it yet.
Well, and especially when it comes to a sport like baseball, like even though it's a video game, when it comes to a sport like baseball, like one of the things they say is, 100 at bats, give them 150 at bats. Like, let's see what the trend is there. 10 at bats isn't a trend. 10 at bats is like a drop of water in a bucket. So, but we will go into modes. We'll talk about gameplay in each mode. I'm going to start off with one of the newest features in 21, and that's ball player. So ball player is kind of taking the place. There is still Road to the Show, and there still is a cap in Diamond Dynasty, but ball player is taking the place of both of those. You can only use your ball player in Road to the Show, even though you can create multiple levels of it. Like you can have multiple aspects of that person. You can only use that person in Road to the Show. That's been a big complaint now. And you can now level him into Diamond Dynasty, which has been another kind of, hey, are they trying to push Road to the Show players into Diamond Dynasty? GGB, Road to the Show, I know you've played a lot of it. I know that's been one of your main modes over the years. Talk to me about the changes you see in Road to the Show and where you think they're pushing direction at.
For sure. I'll preface this by, I like what they're doing with ball player theoretically, right? Like the idea of ball player is really cool. When it comes to the execution of it, I kind of get a little frustrated, right? There's a lot of people that want to create, multiple different players. Not everybody wants to create we have 2A this year, which is cool. You can bat, you can hit, you can do it as frequently or infrequently as you want. That's great. But some people want to have, specialty type players. And when you're playing a Road to the Show, it's all about sort of you're telling a story, right? And I think to a degree, the ability to tell a story in Road to the Show is being stripped away from a lot of people because, again, you're sat down with just one player, right? Like I created myself. I used to have for YouTube, I would create, different characters. I had a whole king family that I would create and have all these really cool interactions. And now you're sort of limited by that. That is more of a niche thing. I get it. Where I see their overall direction, though, is they're really sort of, to me, they looked at NBA 2K and they're like, okay, we see what 2K does where you have a player that is a my player. That player also going to be used in Park Online. They're sort of building a similar thing. And I would not be surprised if we saw some sort of like hybrid mode of like what Madden does with the yard into MLB The Show. Not saying arcadey as the yard, but maybe something along those lines where it's like fewer players doing an online thing, using your my player, your ball player in this case. That's where I genuinely think they're ultimately going to go, because that's another market they have not really tackled right now, right? And as the MLB's trying to get younger, because the average MLB audience member is like, what, 50 or 55
54.
or something?
54
nuts, right? Right. Like that's insane. Like I can genuinely see the MLB, when they ever get around to making a push for younger players, saying like, look, this is a way they can tackle that and leveraging it. And I think, Sony San Diego probably sees that as well.
Do you like the direction, Dimmu? Like the direction of being able to use the player in multiple modes, but maybe that limiting how they have to build the player?
I'm okay with like the integration into DD. And I'm not just saying it because obviously I play a lot of DD. I actually hate the creative player in DD. I've always hated it. I think it is lazy content is what it is, because first off, MLB The Show, in my opinion, over every other game that has an ultimate team card mode, they do so much with content. Every position is now, like last year was like the first time in the whole year where it was like there are too many options at every position. You don't need to have, you know, Billy Jenkinson being created to be this insane goon thrown into there. There's so many cool cards you can use, and I just don't think it's needed anymore. And I mean, you know, or having, you know, creative player relievers that are lefty sidearmers that throw 102 mile an hour fastballs with 68 mile an hour changeups. You don't need that, you know? And so I personally hate that, but I am cool with them having a way for like these road to the show players, you know, they have their thing that they like, right? And then now it has a little bit of, hey, you can try this other mode. I'm all for everybody having an opportunity to have something that they like thrown into another mode. Maybe it creates more fun for them. That's totally cool. I like that part. I just personally hate the creative player. So
no, I fully understand that. Like there's a very large divide in the Diamond Dynasty community about whether you want to have a sim roster. I mean, think about Pepe Alazar from a few years back,
right,
where that was a huge thing in Diamond Dynasty of why are you putting fake players in the game? And that kind of goes on the same thing, having a creative player in the game. And then there's the other side of, I really like to control myself in the game. And even on an online side, it's not necessarily competitive, but it does something we're going to talk about a little later. It does kind of lean more content wise in terms of what you want to do. What I'll say about Road to the Show and like the way the ball players interacted is, so the way it works now is 50% of your attributes are grinded and 50% are based on archetypes. So they have archetype programs, much like the first inning program in Diamond Dynasty, some of the different player programs. There's actually a program where you can earn different archetypes and different perks. I like that idea. I like the idea of splitting that up and then being able to do different loadouts, especially when, like GGB said, you have a two-way player. You don't can you imagine how hard that would be to level up both at the same time? Well, when it's working, you can switch loadouts. You can build up your base attributes, but then for the other half, like you can have a pitcher loadout and a hitter loadout or like different positions. And then when you know you're going into pitch, you can go, okay, I'll select my pitcher loadout. I'm ready to go. I like that idea. I like that idea in like Diamond Dynasty. There is something missing from the mode though, and it starts at a narrative where you're forced into a two-way player. I don't think that's a big deal. And the video podcasts they do in the Road to the Show are amazing. There does feel a disconnect between like your player and everything else going on. And I'm not looking for a told story. I don't need to be like given a movie like, hey, this is your place, like Long Shot was in Madden a couple of years ago.
Dear God.
But it does feel like when you're going through Road to the Show, like you lose. There used to be like these relationships, and you still see them, like the little handshakes when fielding happens, and the little rivalry when you hit like a home run off a pitcher. But it doesn't feel like that's enacted in game enough. And in a game where they're really focused this year on let the kids play or letting like that presentation upgrade that they've done in a lot of the modes, to have that missing from early parts of Road to the Show really take me like out of that immersion side of it. But again, I do love the archetypes, like Dimmu said, just another thing to grind. And the cool thing that you can grind in Diamond Dynasty, like you can grind it fully in Diamond Dynasty or fully in Road to the Show, or kind of like a middle of the both. And as GGB said, it's very reminiscent of the 2K My Player. Like that's the first thing you think of when you go through that. So. But let's lead that. So we talked about Road to the Show, kind of pushing into Diamond Dynasty in what could be one of the, in my opinion, most well executed modes in a very long time, starting off with that feature premiere last Thursday and just pushing through early access. Their Diamond Dynasty mode this year serves so many players. They've added ways for online players to not have to play offline. They've added ways for offline players to not have to play online. They've added ways for not great players to get rewards that were before gated for the top 2% of the world. Dimmu, talk to me about the Diamond Dynasty modes in general, and also what seems to be a shift from competitive last year where they were really hyper focused on competitive, to this year, it really seems like a content focused mode.
Yeah. So they like the two big things they did in terms of like from switching from that competitive to the content kind of side is the World Series rewards and the BR rewards. So before you had to hit you had to hit 900 in World Series, and there was a lot of people that could not do that. To get, every month they had a certain reward, 3 cards, you could pick one, and then you could sell them. So they're still obtainable, but you had to spend money or have stubs to purchase the cards if you did not hit a World Series. They have made it now to where, let's say you are just absolutely poo, right? You're playing 100 games and you're only winning 50 games. You know what I mean? You're playing 500.
GGB, listen up.
And that's where you live and all that good stuff. Well, you can still get that World Series reward because you're playing the game long enough. And I do think that's really cool. I think that's super, super dope. I am shocked to see what they did with the BR stuff, because they have BR has always had the flawless stuff, where you go 12-0 and there's that special reward, they did have an issue last year, but you had that reward 12-0 flawless, boom. Like one of them was Chipper last year, right? That was the only way to get it, or you had to buy it. Now they have this reward path for it and you get a flawless pack, but the word flawless being in it just kind of makes it seem odd because you're not going flawless. So it's kind of interesting. I think it's going to be fun to see, as it continues, will it kill those rewards in terms of price? Because those used to be million stub cards.
Yeah.
Which were still obtainable, even if you, I was no money spent. I was able to get one of the chippers, so it's very possible, but it's kind of shocking that because going 12-0 is so hard that you would even try to kind of fracture that reward, if you will. Right. I was kind of shocked to see that. They definitely need to do something different. I just didn't think they were going to do that.
Do you think the BR program being based on points, you can get, I think it's Mancini gets a couple doubles during your BR run.
Yeah.
You get some points for that. There's actual player missions that force you to draft other players possibly. Do you feel like it's balanced well with the time? Again, we're talking early, so this could change, but it's 50 BR points in 12 or 13 days. Do you think that's balanced well, or do you think that's too easy to get to?
At first I thought it would be too easy. But I also am a little bit where my vision's a different way, because I literally will stream BR runs every day. You know what I mean? That's, and even if I'm not doing well, I'm going 4-2 and then losing, I'm still getting my 4 wins. So obviously somebody like me that's a disgusting person for BR will 100% get it. But there are people that are hey, man, I'm struggling on these veteran moments. You know what I mean? Good Lord, you want me to play online and somehow get wins? So at first I was super worried on if it would be, if they would be killing those rewards. I think it's going to be kind of middle. I think those rewards, the rarity of them is going to come down a smidget, but not too much to where it's why go flawless?
I think the one good thing that's going to happen with all this for sure is I did notice you talked about Chipper earlier from last year. There were a lot of cards that were sitting for $1 million buys that had 100, 200 buys on them that were flawless rewards that never got sold.
Oh, if there were people that were telling me I'm putting in my $1 million or my million stub order for Chipper in November, and I was like, homie, you're not going to get that card until MLB The Show 21 drops. You know, I had put one in. And it sat for 3 months, and then I went flawless rare. I only did it once, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And then ironically, as I selected Chipper, my buy order went through for him. So, but yeah, it's
streamer luck.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. So, there are people that I couldn't get Billy Wagner because nobody was selling him, and I was 400 deep. So they had to do something different. I thought how they were doing those flash packs.
Yeah,
last year.
I think we all thought that was coming. Yep.
It's especially later in the year, and I'm not talking about February. I'm talking about November, December. There were a lot of people that had stubs to burn. You were like, what do I do with these? I thought for sure we would see, we're going to drop this pack for 4 hours, and it's a choice pack. You only buy one. Best of luck. It's a milli. And then there's all the rewards. You pick who you want. Right. People had stubs to burn, and we didn't see that. I was kind of shocked. So this is one way to combat that issue, So hopefully it works. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see if that works long term. Yeah, I'd love to see, especially with like players having like one specific player, maybe a favorite player or like team favorite player, maybe they can get to. So GGB down on the other side of this. So I know Dimmu and I played Diamond Dynasty pretty much year round. Even though we both play franchise, I say I know Dimmu loves franchise. So even though we both play franchise as well, you coming into Diamond Dynasty as what you said, I'm not calling you this time. It was your word this time, as more of a casual Diamond Dynasty fan. With the amount of content, do you feel like directionally you are like walking into like the Mall of America and going, oh God, candy store, toy store, ladies lingerie over here? Or are you like kind of like, you know, I mean, I know what your favorites are. I can't help it. What do you mean to say? Like, so, or do you feel like you can get into it, you know, kind of where you're going?
Mills, I thought you would keep the private photos I send you in ladies lingerie off of the podcast.
But if you're not on the YouTube version of this podcast, you should be.
Missed out. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. No,
completely shaken. That's what he is right now.
I definitely get overwhelmed a little bit with the content, but I also love that too, because my brain is like a little ADHD. And so I walk in and I'm looking at these different programs and I see something that catches my eye, or I browse the marketplace and I see a card and I'm like, oh, I wonder if you can acquire that one. Then I go look at something. I'm like, oh, that's how you get that. Like, what? I'm not going to lie, for the first 12 hours, I had no idea how to get the 42 cards. And then I was like, oh, if I go into Showdown and then grind Team Affinity, then I can go do that. So I think I wish for people that aren't as hardcore like me, for example, there was a little bit of a better explanation for like how to acquire certain types of cards, right? Like showing me the types of cards that are available and then saying like, if you want to grind for 42 or for this or for that, like here's a pathway to do that, right? I don't think that's enough apparent. And I think when you have so many people that are coming over on Xbox now that have, never been really exposed to this series, I think they're going to get overwhelmed there. So to me, it's almost like they're doing themselves a little bit of a disservice, because you have so much content and so much stuff to do and so many ways to, again, if you want to go no money spent like Dimmu, like you can go that route and be extremely competitive if that's your vein. But I think a lot of newer people are going to be like, wait, they're going to be like me in chemistry class, literally no idea what's going on, despite, looking at things for 20, 30 minutes at a time.
So Dimmu, talk to me about, again, let's stick with Diamond Dynasty here for a second. They made some major changes to how a lot of these programs work this year. The first major change being the inning programs. Previously, it was, stars based on missions. Now it is all of your XP in the game that you make in any mode, including double XP this weekend, which we'll talk about it being a genius move. Kind of pushing into this first inning program. How do you feel about the differences now that, like, there's, again, I think last year we had like this really clean, here's what you need to do to get these program stars.
Yeah.
This year it's kind of like, okay, we have some tasks for you, but now I feel like I get packs like all the time now.
I feel like I get, okay. So kind of sort of back to what he was saying, or how he's overwhelmed as a casual player. I'm overwhelmed as a hardcore player.
Yeah.
And then you add that on to, and I'm trying not to be negative, but the absolute worst menu layout I've ever seen on the planet. And the thing is, MLB The Show usually has such clean, crisp, easy to navigate menus. Right. I'm like, oh, wait, I want to play BR. Oh, what the hell do I do? Oh, and then, oh my God, Conquest. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know where I'm going ever. When I'm these menus are nightmare. I was like, where the heck is the Team Affinity stuff? It's like, it's hidden. You got to like solve a Rubik's Cube to figure it out. It's a nightmare. So now that they've redone this program, like the first thing program, I think it just adds to the essential like clutter. You know what I mean? And loss, because before, like, I get what they were trying to do. You had two different things you could do. You could have the XP reward path, and that was just by playing, and you could grind that. But then you also had this little sub grind that you could do, which would also still add to your XP grind. You know what I mean? And I thought the stars were so easy to go, okay, 5 stars for this, but not, okay, that's 62,000 XP for this. That's 14,000. That's 3,732. I'm over here having to pull out a calculator to figure out what the hell I'm doing. And it was so much cleaner the way they had it. Like, and I play a lot, dude. I have people, these new hey, I'm new on Xbox.
Yep.
How the hell do I get a 42 series card? And I'm like, You gotta, well, hold on. Let me walk you through it. So we go here, then we go, okay, here. And then oh God. And then we go here. I totally understand how they're totally lost. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of confusing.
And it's funny you mentioned that because when I did the Eric Davis program, everyone was telling me you get 35,000 just for doing it. And I did the Eric Davis program. I was like, well, it's not going anywhere. And you have to go into like a sub menu of the first inning program and actually lock him in. To the same point, I'm not no money spent. The 42 pre-order cards, I actually ended up collecting them because I thought they were really cool. And I thought, really cool. New legends. So I bought them. I said, screw it. I'm going to make some stubs in the market and buy those. So there's a collection outside of the first inning program to collect them and get like Mini Minoso and then like a Larry Doby once you start doing the Team Affinity ones. Well, I collected it there. And then apparently there's a collection inside the first inning program specifically for the pre-order cards that gives you 50,000 XP to the first inning program. Had no idea until about 1 a.m. last night where I'm scrolling through going, what else do I need to do? And then I was like, oh, well, okay, I've already collected these.
See, and they had something like that last year where like, you know, like they'd be like, hey, you could, like the Eric Davis, for instance, the player, right. You could do that. But it was so much easier, like laid out because you knew you were like, oh, and if I lock him in, I'm going to get 5 stars and this is how to do it. And it's right. You just boop, boop, click that. You're good to go. But like now, I mean, you had to go, you know, through the 100-acre woods just to get to the dang menu to select to lock in Eric Davis. You know, and it's like, okay, did I do this now? Okay. Oh, wait, there's another collection here. They don't really explain it very well. And also the menus. I mean, I go back to the clean ones.
It can be very, very confusing. And what's weird is they made some actually decent UI changes, like the inventory searches and the filters there. And then it's kind of like
dark mode. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, right. It's not flashbanging us every time we get to Yeah. So, Eeyore, talk to me more about the 100-acre woods. Let's talk about gameplay, GGB. I mean, I'm going to pin your tail, but it's okay. Pinpoint pitching is the brand new pitching. And I'm going to you first because I think you and I are going to have a difference of opinion for Dimmu here. Talk to me about pinpoint pitching and your experience with it, GGB.
Hey, man, look, I gave it a good 5 minutes, you know. I hit the first batter that I faced. I threw a couple in the dirt. I threw 2 strikes after about 5 minutes. And then I said, this, and then I kept it moving. Really cool. I'm sure people are going to love it. And I'm sure if you get it down and take the time to learn it, great. But I was wanting to fight anything and everything in my office when I was playing with it. I can't do it.
When I first loaded it up, I didn't realize you had to pull down at the end of the pitch. Mm-hmm. I was leaving the stick at the top of the circle and going, wait a second, why is this not working? And then I watched Scuffy and I watched every little motion go green, and I was like, what is this? What's going on? Why is he? Oh wait, he's pulling down at the end of it. So Dimmu, so for me personally, I think it's something I'm going to work in off stream and then kind of maybe bring back on stream, especially with online play and it being the most accurate, mechanic for online play. Yeah. Dimmu, I've watched you online. I've watched you from kind of like the first day kind of start to evolve as you go. How do you feel comfort-wise now after it's been out for a few days?
So at first I was like, oh, sweet God, I've got to have stick skill for this. I better go get my day job again because streaming's clearly not going to go very far. But like I've kept going on it, and I mean I agree they kind of explain it really crappy, like because I even my girlfriend sometimes will play, and so I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And I handed it to her, and she was like, why don't they tell you how to? Once I explained it, she was all good, but like the little diagram doesn't always show you like, hey, you got to pull this back down and all that stuff. It's definitely I'm not very good with stick skill, okay, but I've been getting a lot better at it. And, I had like 6 perfect back to back pitches, like earlier in the stream today. And I was like, oh my God, I'm Greg Maddux. You know what I mean? Like I'm amazing. And, but like, if you're patient with it and you try it, it's definitely going to be like rewarding. Cause it is, I mean, when you perfect that bad boy, I mean, you're maybe you're a hair this way or a hair that way, but it's really, really accurate. And I know a lot of people have been kind of turned off by using it with like online play because you're not trying to like learn it and then throw a slider down the middle and it gets shot into the moon.
Right.
I've been since I'm no money spent, I'm grinding Conquest trying to get my free packs and stubs and all that. So I've been using that as a way to perfect and get better at that mechanic by playing the CPU. Because if the CPU beats me, I don't like Ken Griffey Jr. doesn't pop out of my console and punch me in the face and call me a loser when he beats me. You know what I mean? So if I lose the CPU, I don't care. I can learn how to do it though there, and I've gotten a lot better at it.
Hear that, Sony? Next gen. Make sure that I want to see that. I want to see actually Griffey like his hand come out and just sock
comes out and punches square in the chin, and he goes, "You suck," right. And you're like, "Oh, okay."
For 25,000 stubs, you can have that feature.
Mechanically, in the other parts of gameplay, where do you feel like I know check swings were upgraded. I know a lot of the outfield animations have been upgraded. I will say one of the biggest changes that I've seen is the AI first step. Not even when it's user controlled fielding, it feels like that AI first step is actually going in the correct direction 90% of the time now. And that's especially in the infield, it's such a welcome change to see that like direction that they're going in, and even as a teaching tool saying, hey, this is where new users should be going. The other thing being outfield defense. I've seen a lot more of if you're going towards like the back of the ball. I know, Dimmu, you're using the new indicator, right? The new fielding indicator.
Yeah, that blue thing.
Yeah, the blue T. I don't have the wherewithal to even come near that for right now.
I kind of like it.
I've heard a lot of people think it's way more accurate, right?
Yeah, like I feel like I did, like, because you got like the little yellow ball trail, and then you got your blue horizontal line, and you just go where it intersects, and then when it happens, I'm like, yeah, I'm skilled. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it feels better than the little ball pop. I like it. People will be like, man, I hate that blue thing, and I'm like, I love it. I'm weird. I don't know.
And I feel like the game rewards you for setting up better on throws too. Like if you're going like towards, if there's a fly ball and you're going like to the side, if you go behind it, it'll actually go into that curving animation now where you can go towards a throw and even get some more on the throw, meaning like throw strength isn't as important because you're not standing still for half of your throws. GGB, like what have you seen gameplay wise that's really been kind of impressive to you over the first few days?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like when I think about the show, yes, it's had issues with hitting and fielding over the past couple of years, but typically when the show is at its normal level, it is typically one of the best, most well-rounded, deep gameplays that we have for sports games, right? Like there's NBA 2K, which you can argue for offline has like maybe a little bit better in that realm, but like when you compare it to Madden or something similar, like I think the show really is in that upper echelon there. This year, like the nuances, I mean, you guys have talked about it a lot. I don't really use that Dr. Manhattan, like blue, long thing like on the field, but like a lot of the other stuff.
See, Dr. Manhattan blue long thing? Please don't do that. Have you ever seen The Watchmen? That's not where you want to go with it.
I am. That's why I said it. But past that, I've wrecked this podcast. The gameplay, like the nuances have been great for me. Like I've had really good times fielding. I've had a couple of plays that made me stand up and yell like, oh snap, like I can't believe that actually happened. Diving catches with that little I don't remember if it was in last year or not, but the like pulsating ball. I'm really killing this podcast. The like ball that has the red flashes for like diving or like critical ones.
All that has red flashes. Yep, I know what you're talking about. Sure.
That one's been fantastic too this year. Like I just really have enjoyed the gameplay in general. So I've been happy with it.
You know what I really loved that I've gotten into a little bit off stream and not really on. I put it on for about a half hour on stream and said, this is too big. This is too big. It was not Dr. Manhattan. It was Stadium Creator. Stadium Creator is massive.
Talk about being overwhelmed.
Super, like, stupidly cool. Like,
and can I just say,
too much cool.
Dimmu, have you seen some of the creations people are already coming out with?
Oh yeah. There's some that I'm like, how the hell you make that? Like, what?
I thought so. Logo creators, when it comes to like content, you could probably pay somebody else to do, and right. I did. I paid somebody else to put my logo in the game. I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. Stadium Creator is the next like level of that, because I went to Stadium Creator offline for about an hour and a half, and I was like, okay, I've got a stadium, and I was like, yeah, it's really playing compared to everybody else's. And then I like go on Twitter, and I'm like, somebody's like recreated like a UFO with the baseball flying around sideways. Yep. Your friend Kyle has the Shadow Realm, which is the
nutty.
most. What in the It's like 8 stories tall, and there are dinosaurs pumping out of the side. And every time you play there, you're scared for your life. Like,
well, did you see there was another one? Like, first off, everybody's making these really, really cool ones, and like they're doing their really cool videos with it. You know, like where they like take you through it, because it's not just your state. I mean, you can put anything you want behind it, like in places you never see, even hitting a home run and stuff. You can put some cool stuff. Like I saw, what was it, Frisk? I think he remade his high school
College
field. Yeah. I mean, I was like, okay, that's amazing.
You see the person that did the entire like carnival outside?
Yeah.
It was like a slide, a Ferris wheel, like a train going around and everything. Like, it was entirely, and it was blocked by the entire wall. But when he did the little tour, like you could see all of it going on. And there was like a Brooklyn Bridge across over top of it. I thought when they said stadium creator, I said, okay, we're getting this basic stadium creator.
Oh yeah.
It's going to have you're going to want it online. So they did the fantastic way of making it so you can do it online with just giving you the base, like 150 different fences that if you touch it, you can't bring it online.
Yeah.
And just the amount of options they give you, the amount of tools they give you to be creative. GGB, when are we seeing GGBU? All right, we going to see that stadium coming up soon?
You know, first of all, stay out of my pockets, you know. I'm just kidding. No, I have a franchise I'm doing. It'll be out soon called the Portland Pine. So I found a really cool logo someone had, and it was really dope. I love the Portland aesthetic. So I made a really cool stadium that's nowhere near as cool as some of the other people, but like I spent probably like 2-ish hours on it. I just wish we had the ability to resize things. Like when you're dealing with, if you're building like a concourse, or if you're building, you know, some of those foundational pieces, not being able to resize those kills me more often than not, because I'm like, man, I could resize this and kill, you know, 5 minutes of work that I'm going to have to do if I, you know, since I'm not able to resize it now. So Stadium Creator is incredible. I hope they can, you know, there's some quality of life things I want to see, right? Being able to search for stadiums would be a huge one right now, because, you know, if you guys go create a stadium, you're like, it's on page 2000 currently, and then you like you're 2 hours in scrolling for that, you know.
And then by the time you see this, there'll be 1,000 in front of it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why can't we search? That has to be a thing.
Are we in the Twitch Prime Lounge? Is it something that maybe in the works?
We are going to be working on it for sure. I have some plans I want to do. I'm pretty excited. It's kind of like back to like the overwhelming content with that. Like then you have the whole stadium creator. It's like, oh my gosh. And so I'm trying not to get too deep into it, but like I am playing people that have like really cool stadiums. I don't know if you know this. Yeah. You can also put like letters and like make signs and stuff in there. Cause I played some dude and he had in letters, it said Dimmu sucks out there on his wall. So that was pretty cool. You know, I was like, hey, that's me. So I hit a home run. I go, what the hell does that say? That says Dimmu sucks. And I was like, that's the most accurate thing in this game. Like,
that's how you know you made it, when they finally start attacking you with their stadiums.
Yeah,
I will say like, again, like content creator wise, I love. I'll bring it up again. The chat. I think the first person I saw do this, I think, was your friend Kyle. Was when he took like VIPs from his channel. And started putting their name up on the wall. I mean, it gives you so many different things you can do with it. Really impressed for the first time out, and then I can't imagine what they're going to be able to do with this year 2, year 3, as they're able to add more things to it. Again, resizing would be a great thing. They've got to put a search in the stadium vault. For as many creators, as many creative creators they have out there, with like the different rosters that we have, which is currently broken. We'll talk about that in a second. With the different faces, the different logos, like this is just an untapped resource that a search needs to happen.
There's so many cool stadiums. Like, why can't I, that needs to be a thing. Like, because for a series of mine, you know, whenever I'm doing gameplays, I was like, oh man, you know what I'll do? I'll have it where they can say, I figured there'd be like a saving in the vault where you can just save it, you know, Dimmu pick this or whatever. I'll start going out and I'll use a bunch of my subscriber stadiums, you know, and I'll be like, we can show off different ones every time. Ooh, look what this guy made. Look what Billy made, you know, and all this stuff. But it's you literally cannot find them.
I think the other kind of cool thing would be like franchise mode. Like if you wanted to do a completely fantasy franchise now, you could have literally 30 different stadiums with 30 different like sets of jerseys and just completely fantasy that. Which kind of segues into I know we're trying to be positive, so I'm gonna kind of like segue into this, and this is gonna be the negative part of the review. Franchise mode, which we kind of knew coming in was gonna be a sore spot. We knew coming in that they had targeted trade logic and player value, and having quote unquote depth charts is kind of like the big features this year. And they talked about very briefly on their feature premiere for it. They're gonna have to tear it apart and kind of rebuild it. If they rebuilt something, I don't know, but they're rebuilding the wrong way. Like they Wile E. Coyote the tunnel and just let the roadrunner run through and then banged right into it when they couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. Because some of the trade logic I've seen, and I think we've all seen, including a lot of some of the top franchise creators, has been backwards. I saw like a Mike Trout trade that had like a 30-year-old pitcher, a 30-year-old like 80 overall pitcher, an 18-year-old B prospect, and like a 22-year-old like journeyman C potential. And the Angels were the ones that said, "Hey, yeah, let's do this out of their trade finder." And I understand that it's only 3 players per team. So when you're talking about trading Trout, there's only so much you can do. But like you told me your player values were updated, and then we see all of these weird trades happen. And you tell me that like you're doing these 30-year sims. And when I do a 10-year sim, I'm seeing all kinds of craziness. GGB, let's start with you. Franchise mode is near and dear to all 3 of our hearts. I mean, we've got to be a little disappointed here, right?
Yeah, I mean, the trade logic is, it's like Mill's ability to play a video game. It's not very good, honestly. Like it's I was disappointed in that for sure. You know, I will say one positive thing about trade logic. I think they built something in the back end that we just can't see for certain players that have like off the field issues. So like Roberto Osuna, a guy obviously who has some off the field things that are sort of, you know, still lingering to this point. I signed him because I was like, hey, I wonder how easy he's going to be to trade. Literally could not trade him. I did suggested trades. I went to every single team and tried to trade him. I literally tried to trade him for the worst player on every single team. And it said, we are not interested in trading for this player. So I think they do have some sort of flag for particular players to not maybe trade for them, or if they're in free agency, that they'll just wither away and not be able to be signed and ultimately end up retiring. I thought that was pretty intriguing because I signed him for a team-friendly deal, which I was kind of blown away by that.
I wonder if that's something to protect themselves in the future for like franchise mode. Because I think Ozuna starts as like a free agent, right?
Yeah.
I wonder.
Well, I'm wondering how soon you try to trade him, because sometimes when you do that, it'll be like for some like it doesn't kick their value, and so you're not just signing and trading. I've had that happen before.
Yeah, I tried day 1 and I tried 30 days out, and I couldn't get him for either one.
I'll have to do a sim and see if he gets signed by anybody. I wonder if they really have put a red flag on somebody, because like I call it the Ray Rice rule, because Madden was the first one that I can really remember doing, like where they took a player completely out of a game. MLB doesn't take players completely out of the game unless something like is legally happens. I wonder if that's like so that like franchise people aren't like, hey, look, the Yankees signed Roberto Osuna, and then that turns into like an MLB, like a bad, like, because MLB's taking a real active stance in MLB The Show this year. Obviously with them being the one that's publishing it over to Xbox. So, Dimmu, I think you and I have this conversation every year, man. It sucks. First of all, by the way, the roster vault's still broken. The roster vault is broken to start off with.
How is it still broken? I'm so mad.
Dude, and the base rosters are really, really not good.
Call it terrible, Bills. Call it what it is.
It is awful. It's awful, which is crazy to me, because there is so much painstaking work done into the Diamond Dynasty rosters. And this is not a Diamond Dynasty versus franchise thing, before somebody quotes me on that one, which I know I'm getting on Twitter tomorrow at some point. But like all the awesome card art and all the awesome, like the stats that are based off 3-year programs, or like all this different stuff going on. Like, how are the base rosters this bad? And then especially when you're starting in the middle of you're already starting the season started, like you should have rights for a lot of these prospects that are missing that you had last year. Like potential should be way better. You told me you were doing 30-year sims, and I'm doing 30-year sims. And they look completely different when you told me they were supposed to be. What are we going to have to do, Dimmu? Are we going to have to make franchise great again? Is that what we're going to have to do?
At this point, I have no idea. I mean, I know I'm primarily DD, okay, but like especially towards the end, I started doing rebuilds once a week with my community, and we were hyping it up, and like it was this really fun thing. But like, I don't know how you don't touch. Like, I don't know how you release the game with rosters that have people that have the wrong position, people that have their name not spelled correctly, their age is off. Like, I mean, franchise, for me at least, franchise is about like this immersive. I'm the general manager. This is my team. I'm building them the way I want. That's the way I play. That's the way. That's the fun I get from it. And it's like, I just wish that they, like, you've neglected for so long. And I get DD makes you all your money, whatever. Yeah, there's still people buying the base game. There's still people, so many people. I would love to see those numbers. How many people buy it to play offline versus how many that are online? Because that's an alarmingly huge number. And it's like, I don't know, man. You've neglected it for so long. I saw a video that had MLB The Show 06 franchise. And there was like 15 different features that like, just not huge, but just adds to the immersive thing of having a franchise and making a dynasty and all that. And it's like, those have been taken out and they've not been replaced with a single thing. Your trade logic's still incredibly broken. Your progression and regression still incredibly broken. It's just weird, man. There's no, for somebody that wanted to make an immersive game and stuff like that, they've added zero immersive things. Your deadline is still boring. Your winter meetings, which is one of the most exciting periods in MLB free agency, is still incredibly boring. You've done nothing to add to this. There's so many different avenues you could go, and yet you continue to kind of slap offline players in the face. At least that's the way I see it. I don't know. Maybe there are offline players that are grabbing it every single year and they're like, Dimmu, you're crazy. Fair enough. I just think they could do more.
I don't think you're wrong at all. I don't think you're wrong. I mean, I've been well quoted on my feelings of what they did with the franchise this year. I'm going to bring up another part of this is that custom leagues are exactly the same. You brought a brand new option into the game last year to kind of quell that online franchise when you took it out and said you were going to put it back in. So now there's custom leagues that are built into Diamond Dynasty and regular season. You had an opportunity to possibly add something onto that, maybe multiple years, maybe a different way for the regs rosters to add on to maybe having more of a franchise experience. But that's exactly the same, and casually didn't mention any of that. I
didn't mention that. And there's no multiple years, but like also at the same time, could you even expect them to do it? There's no multiple years in March to October, which it seemed like that's what they wanted to start turning a franchise into, which I personally hate that mode. I think it's absolutely terrible because it's just taking resources away from what could be one of the greatest like, I mean, they do DD amazing. They could do franchise amazing too. And I refuse to listen to DD makes them more money. The game makes them a ton of money. And if they don't have enough people to do it, well, then that's not my problem. Hire more people. If you can't do the job, hire more people to get it done. Franchise should be exploding. It should be way better.
And their March October suffers from the same trade logic problems, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does.
Very much so. Because it's to highlight your team.
Yep.
So when you're trying to trade for superstars, like you don't care what you're trading away. Like you're just like, okay, just throw it all in there. I don't care. So even if the trade logic worked, like there's no care about your minor league system at all. It's just throw them all out there. I don't care. Give me Mike Trout. You have whatever you want out of there. And that's actually a base like strategy problem with March or October. I'm to the point where I just don't know what we can do to fix that. And it does upset me because I do believe 21 is in one of the best places it's ever been in terms of overall game. Diamond Dynasty is fantastic. I think Road to the Show is on a good direction. But then it's like that mode is just like sitting over here and just March, October. And now even March, that's what's really starting to get me is like, whether you like March, October or not, even it's starting to suffer the same fault as franchise is that it's just not getting touched. It sat there. And again, pandemic. What else did I hear? Pandemic excuses, tough year, adding to new consoles, all of this other stuff. I get all of that. But Diamond Dynasty looks like a brand new gem. Road to the Show looks like the starts of a diamond, possibly a piece of coal under real hard pressure, and you're starting to see it pop out of there.
See, that scares me. I don't know if see what you're saying. It looks like it's about to be a diamond, could pop out of there, but at the same time, what did they do? They made it to where you can integrate it with DD. What did they do when they tried to do that with essentially franchise? They made March to October, and that mode struggles.
I'm giving them benefit of the doubt for Road to the Show because Road to the Show is their top play. That's the only reason I'm giving them that is because they're trying something different.
Right.
Road to the Show was if you remember we all talked about this last year. Road to the Show was suffering the same issues as it was very stale. They were trying to go through with the new RPG system, which is strangely completely missing in place of archetypes now. They've got a really. I think they realize they got a real problem with. I'm going to bring this up again. I'm sorry, GGB. I know you love when I do this. They got a real problem with the burrito right now, man, and I just don't know. I think they're realizing that burrito just can't be fixed. And one of the big parts of the burrito is like morale system, chemistry, all this stuff. It's not existent this year. So, I mean, GGB, and talk to me about just final thoughts on talk to you about like franchise and what we're talking about right now. Just give me what you think we could do to fix this, GGB.
Yeah, I would say quick point though to the Road to the Show point that you guys are making. I do think they're building Road to the Show to do the online component of having that like you play as a starting pitcher or a shortstop or a center fielder or whatever, and doing like I don't know what the equivalent would be of like the yard is, what is the yard? 6v6, I think in Madden.
It'll be wiffle ball in a backyard somewhere.
I think it's going to be something like that where it's like a blitzball, wiffle ball type thing. So, because this is what NHL did. NHL did the same thing where NHL completely redid how I love playing the NHL series online, and EASHL changed their archetypes from allowing you to just spend on whatever to then saying, okay, now you're going to be a grinder or a sniper or a two-way guy or whatever. And so they built it because that's how they wanted to build their online. And they didn't want to have this crazy imbalance. It's way easier for them to balance it if they say you have 10 archetypes to balance versus an infinite number of possibilities. So I think that's ultimately where that's going.
The big difference between NHL and what MLB is doing, by the way, NHL still has a Be a Pro mode that is separate from that.
Valid.
And I do agree. I do agree with you. I think we'd all love to see something like a backyard baseball mode.
Yeah. For franchise though, man,
which that'd be like kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Honestly,
I mean, it's easily NBA 2K's top played mode. Is that city mode? It doesn't work as well for Madden, and I don't think. I mean, FIFA.
I don't think it would work as well for MLB to be though. Like, I mean, it'd be interesting, but like, are you going to want to be the kid in the outfield standing there for?
I think. That's that's every time we bring up co-op, I think it's the one thing we all say. Do you want to be the right fielder? Like, do you want to be the right fielder for 27 ounce? It would have to be something like different. It would have to be some kind of like pickup mode where it's not 9v9. It would have to be something like 3v3 or something.
It's gotta be like a wiffle ball 3v3 and like, like in right field is like you cycle pitchers or something. It's got to be something.
Yeah, right field is poison. Pitchers and out when you throw it to them. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
God, that would go back. Jeez.
Yeah, I definitely see him going that route. I just hope, man, at the end of the day, like franchise mode gets its due. Every year we hear next year we're looking at the possibilities, and we've all played games enough to know that like ideas are great, but if you aren't executing and fulfilling those ideas, then it doesn't matter, right? Like if your parents tell you like, oh, I'm going to take you to Disney World next year, and you never go to Disney, well, eventually you're going to stop believing that Disney World is a possibility, right? And I think that's where we are here, where we've heard enough about franchise mode and MLB The Show for years to know next year we're going to look at, or we couldn't get to it this year, but maybe next year. We just know at this point it's not coming. They don't care about the mode. It's heartbreaking. There are examples in the industry of a company that can do it. Look at NBA 2K. My NBA is the best single franchise, my league, whatever style mode you want to look at. They've got retired jerseys. They have contracts. They've gotten so much depth there.
Rule changes.
But the beauty of that mode, though, is you can play it how you want to play it. If you want to play it super simplistic and I have to do a lot of the like extra management, you can do that. If you want to be, I'm tinkering with everything out here, and you can do that too. You can go as deep as you want on that stuff.
I feel attacked.
That was my Mills voice, but we just don't have anywhere close to that in franchise, and it's just heartbreaking every year.
It's unfortunate. Dimmu, final thoughts. 21 where it is now, where you think it'll be in 6 months, and if that in those 6 months, it's tough the first week, I know, but you're one of the smarter guys I know when it comes to this. And in those 6 months, what's one major thing you'd like to see as well on top of where you think it's going to be?
what's one thing in 6 months I want them to be like, hey guys, here's the franchise patch.
Good luck.
All these new features.
What's one realistic thing you'd like to see?
Hey guys, we got DD going, but we also hired Billy now to do the franchise, and boy, does he have some new stuff for you. I'm ready. So that's what. All right, there we go. There's my wish list. No, I just hope that they continue to make. Really, they've always excelled at doing content with DD. Like honestly, like. Even when I have gameplay faults, I'm usually, maybe I'm just weird, but I'm able to be distracted enough by the, ooh, look at this card art. Ooh, look at this new style of card. Ooh, look at the, oh, there's new players. They're this, that, and the other. And it's not like in my experience when I play Madden, where I feel like if I don't spend money on packs every weekend, well, then I'm just that much farther behind. Like they've made terrific content and they've made it very achievable, spending $0. I hope they keep doing that. I hope we get a ton of content like we did last year, where it was like, wow, there's so many cards. Holy crap. You know what I mean? Like there's so much stuff. Hope they keep doing that. And then I hope they fix these servers. Please.
Yeah.
Please fix these servers. They're rough right now.
To that note, besides servers aside, I think one of the nice things that in the opening week is offline players have a ton to grind. Online players have a ton to grind and a reason, because they can get to those program awards you talked about earlier in the episode. Plus, they can do another set for being very good at the game and make some stubs off of that. I think even pack buyers have been given something to kind of do early on, not just with the base packs. By the way, don't buy base packs; they're 2% chance. Even though we do that as content creators, that's for your entertainment. They're really bad.
We did 400 in a pack war the other day, and we pulled 2 diamonds among all of us. So
I heard that it was you, Shelfie, and like Scomo and all those guys, right?
Yeah, don't listen. When I buy pack, I've started prefacing my videos like that because I have the No Money Spent series, again, YouTube. Woo, but then I also have where I have another account where I will spend some money because, like, obviously that's my job in content. But like, whenever I do the spend money on stuff, or like, I'm like, don't do this. If you do this, it's because you got money that you don't care about and you just want to get rid of it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I likened it to if you're putting stubs in the packs, I was like, you have 2 things you can do. We always get this, right? I have 30,000 stubs. Who should I buy, right? Or what should I do with it?
Yeah.
I said, you have 2 things you can do with stubs. I was like, you can invest them or you can entertain with them.
Yep.
I was like, your investment is working the market or buying a player that might be really helpful to your team and make you make stubs through winning.
Yeah.
Your entertainment is throwing it into the slot machine, pulling down, and being entertained by whatever comes out, because chances are you're not making those stubs back. You're leaving them. You're leaving them with the slot machine.
But if you pull a Trout, wow, talk about that feeling of happiness. I don't know what it's like to win $1 million, but it's got to be close.
I haven't pulled a Trout in 3 years.
I watched Healy do his No Money Spent stuff, and in his Conquest pack, he was like, "Oh, I got Trout." What?
One thing they need to take out of this game is the little notification on the top left-hand side when one of your friends pulls a damn card.
Because they expanded on it?
I know,
they expanded on it.
Yeah, because you're seeing like your friend is at 9-0 in BR.
Billy's 9-0 in BR. Yeah, Meanwhile, I'm 1-2, and I'm like, you know what? How about Billy can kiss it? You know, I hate Billy.
Clutch had a Mike Trout pull while I'm live on stream. I went right to Twitter and said, F you, Clutch. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. By the way, I will say this before we get your final thoughts, GGB. I'm turning crossplay off and owning the Xbox side. I don't care anymore. I'm getting out of the goons. I'm getting out of the goons. Y'all deal with it with your PlayStation.
Let me tell you something. Right? I look at my PlayStation and I go, well, damn, I could have bought an Xbox and I could have just been kicking kids in the face over there. Like, I would have been amazing.
I've heard Magunski's got an Xbox and Problem's got an Xbox, and I feel like they're both West Coasters. I can stay far enough away from them that I can still be really, really
Imagine
good.
Being a kid getting to play the game for free on Game Pass, and you match up with Gunsky. Gunsky puts 42 runs up on me in the first inning. Like, that dude.
You don't even get to
I'd be like, I'm done.
You don't even get to get like mercy ruled because he's just on top of the half inning, just knocking him through. GGB, we're having a lot of fun here, but talk to me about final thoughts. Where do you think the game's going to be 6 months? And what is one thing you'd like to add that isn't franchise? Because I think we all love that.
Okay, well, let me take that off.
Off the board.
The one thing I want to add is just quality of life updates to Stadium Creator. I think there's so much that can be done there, and it impacts every mode. It impacts franchise, it impacts Road to the Show, it impacts Diamond Dynasty as a whole, exhibitions, what have you. I really want to see that mode get a whole lot of TLC because it gives me hope that maybe they'll then touch franchise into next year. You never know. But 6 months from now, I think we're going to be, I just hope we're at a spot where from, I hope hitting and fielding are both feeling as good as they are right now to us. But I think from the Diamond Dynasty perspective, I just want to see a variety of cards that are usable online. I think, when I play obviously Madden Ultimate Team, I play a little bit of 2K. We've all played a game where you go in to play an online mode and you're going to run into one of X amount of cards is always going to be in a lineup. It's always great when you go in to play somebody online and you're like, holy, they have that card in here? Like, oh, snap. Or you get beat by a card and you're like, I need to go get that card because I didn't even know that card was that good. I hope the game is at that spot 6 months from now.
I think MLB is one of the best when it comes to, even though there is meta, I feel like obviously sinkers are always going to be a thing, right? But I feel like you can go anti-meta in MLB a little better than any other card collecting mode. And I think obviously with examples like Dimmu, I believe No Money Spent is way easier in MLB than in any single other mode. You put the time into No Money Spent with a little skill and a little direction from a YouTube tutorial. I think MLB is really good when it comes to that. So, and again, don't buy packs. So, Dimmu, do me a favor. Where can everybody find you? I know you have a very budding YouTube. You have a dominant Twitch page, which if they're not already following you on Twitch, man, 10 minutes and they'll follow and sub. So what's going on?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch. You can find me on YouTube, Daddy Dimmu TV. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. Sometimes I post pictures of my dogs. I have a nice little French bulldog and a Newfie. So I have a small dog and a giant dog. So somebody's going to see that. That's exciting. And I make terrible takes on baseball that you can then make fun of me and then come back and say, I told you so in 6 months. So, but yeah, Daddy Dimmu TV everywhere. You can find me there.
And we'll make sure we have all of that in the description of the episode. Go check that out. Go check him out. I promise you, I do not put my stamp of approval on everybody. GGB is one of the people I will never improve. You will not be disappointed by checking Dimmu out on any piece of social media, any piece of media he puts up. So, GGB, are you done? Are you finally ready to close this out? Or are you just done being a mute over there?
I mean, I'm done with you mostly. I would just say, Dimmu, thanks for coming on. It's been fantastic having you. We've been wanting to do this for a while. Mills and I talked about it like weeks and weeks and weeks ago. So I'm happy we were able to make that happen. So thank you for taking time to join us today. I'm sorry to deal with Mills. It's just something that, personally I deal with every week, but eventually you get tough skin and you just sort of get past it.
He's
I'm
worse than Twitch. I'm about done with this,
Make sure you give him a follow. Make sure
I appreciate you guys inviting me. This was very cool.
Tell Mills he's bad. If you go into Dimmu's chat as well, just say Mills is bad and then just make sure you follow and sub as well.
Oh, by the way, one more thing. Dimmu, I'm so glad you went in for the green screen. Your background is fantastic.
I can't even take credit for it. It's Olivia did it, and then I was like, well,
whatever it was. Believe me, I need all the help I can get. So it looks amazing in the background.
Thank you.
Oh, and one more thing, I'm gonna say it because you know what, I'm gonna put it up there. I don't care. GGB, shut your mouth. G Fuel code. Come on, give me the code.
Promo code Daddy D, baby. 30% off starting Wednesday. What's today? 2 G's. What is today? Thursday. Starting Thursday. Woo!
Yeah. So as you listen to this, you will get 30% off of G Fuel with the code Daddy D. GGB, get us out of here.
It's been an interesting podcast. I blame Mills for everything. No, that's great. Again, Dimmu, thanks for being here. Appreciate it a ton. Mills, I hate you as always. Remember, 5 stars this podcast. Follow Dimmu everywhere. Again, we'll have it all in the description. And we'll catch you in the next one as we get 1 week closer to Mills' beard parting his face.
Why is it always... Whatever, ciao.